Well, hello students. I just wanted to quickly review auto insurance and health insurance with you today. Hope you're doing all right, and hope your families are doing all right as well. So, there's many types of insurance out there, but the two most important for you are going to be auto and health insurance. And for my law students, just a reminder, these are contracts. Okay. We use insurance to plan for things we cannot possibly predict. Um, Accidents happen, people get injured, people get sick, property gets damaged and destroyed. Also, in the United States, people sue each other for damages. So if someone injured you or your family and it was their fault, you have a right to go to the courts and seek damages in the amount of money. So your insurances would kick in and pay for some of that liability to help protect you. This is a scary photo of an actual accident from the Garden State Parkway. And cars are very, very dangerous. Driving is a very dangerous activity. So I think you can see just from this photo, having great auto insurance and having great health care is your best way to take care of yourselves in the event of the unthinkable. Okay, protecting our health and protecting our property and reducing liability. And just a side note, when it comes to employment, disability would be if you were injured at work, you would notify the employer, and then while you stayed home to recover, you would still get part of your pay. And then unemployment is if you lose your job, you're fired, you're let go, you are no longer employed by the employer at no fault of your own, you can go to the state of New Jersey and file for unemployment, and you can receive some money there while you're finding a new job. Healthcare is very expensive. You can see this gentleman his foot has been set. He'll probably be put into a cast relatively soon. Hospitals are expensive, doctors are expensive, treatments are expensive, surgeries are expensive. So healthcare pays those things so that you aren't ruined financially by an accident or an injury. And the two main types, again, healthcare and property and liability. We're not going to look at all of these, but life insurance, long-term care are both great insurances. Homeowners have insurance. Renters can get insurance as well. Okay. So here's how this works. No matter what kind of insurance we're discussing, you purchase a policy from an insurance company like State Farm, Geico, Blue Cross Blue Shield of New Jersey, you name it. There's an insurance company out there that sells policies. A policy is really a contract. The contract says who is covered and for what and for how much. What dollar amounts are we going to cover? The nicer the policy, the more robust the policy, the more it's going to cost you. And also they look at risk factors to determine how risky are you for this policy. High risk people are going to be charged more for the policy than low risk people. So you take a look at the contract, you agree to it, and then you have to pay for the contract. You pay a premium. That might be a monthly insurance payment, might be something you pay every 6 months, depends on the policy. In a perfect world, you would get a great insurance policy and pay your premiums, and that would be it. You would just pay forever and never need to file a claim. Unfortunately, at some point, we all have accidents or injuries or get sick. So at that point, you go to the insurance company and you file what's called a claim, and you're saying, I want to claim the things in my contract, so whatever that may be. Yeah. You pay a deductible. So first you pay to have the policy, that's called a premium, and before the insurance will kick in and pay for anything, you have to pay again. That's called a deductible, and I'll explain that more in a minute. But basically, for example, I had my windshield broken. I have full coverage on the car, so windshields are covered. My windshield had a big crack, and it was $500 for a new windshield. I filed a claim with my insurance company over the phone, and I paid a $100 deductible, and the insurance paid the other $400 for that repair. Right, insurance, yes, it pays you money. And also, if you injure someone or you damage someone else's property, your insurance pays them, so you don't have to pay them. And the insurance will also pay you for medical bills or pay your medical bills directly for you. Or if you have damage to a car, a lot of times they will give you the money, or you'll tell them where's the car being repaired. They'll send the money directly to them. Okay, so the premium, you pay that just to have the policy. If you have a low premium amount, the deductible will typically be higher. And vice versa. If you go with a policy that has a high premium, you're paying a lot to have it. When you do need to use it and you file the claim, typically the deductible will be lower. So if you have a high premium amount, you usually have a low deductible, and vice versa. Insurance companies, they have to decide how risky is this person to insure. So I want to show you some examples. Basically, everyone is paying different amounts for the exact same policies depending on how risky the insurance company thinks you are. They're looking at your age, personal history, family history, the location where you live or where you drive, and what do you do for a living. Those are the big ones they look at. Here's two samples. If you're 18 and you have 2 speeding tickets and you work part-time, you're probably going to be more risky for auto insurance but less risky for health insurance. The health insurance, they're mostly looking at your age, and young people typically don't get sick as often as old people. Now, if you're age 70 with no speeding tickets, and let's say you're a retired electrician, you've shown the insurance companies you're very low risk for auto insurance, but the health insurance is going to cost you more because as you age, you are much more likely to be sick. Let's talk auto insurance. In New Jersey, we have what's called no-fault insurance, and what that means is you have to have, by law, a basic policy. This first part covers when you're in an accident with another vehicle. This covers the other vehicle's damage up to $5,000. This one, personal injury of the other person in the car that you had the accident with, up to $15,000. And then this is for you. You personally, if you are injured, you are covered up to $250,000. So you have to have that much insurance in New Jersey. And the reason it's no fault is that if you are significantly injured, you already have access to this much insurance money, so you wouldn't need to go sue the other driver for like a $100,000 medical bill or a $200,000 medical bill. Your insurance would cover it. Now there's limitations there. I'm not going to get into it. That's the basic policy. So at the very bare minimum, you have to have that. If you drive without insurance, it's illegal. The next step up from that is called a standard policy, and you can see that it has a few more protections built in. And just a heads up, when you have a car loan, you won't be able to get away with having basic policy or standard. You're going to need full coverage, which is going to protect the car no matter what happens. And I'm going to show you collision insurance and the rest of that in just a second. The reason is when you're driving a nice new car and you owe money on it, if it gets damaged or destroyed, the lender doesn't want the car back, and you're probably not going to want to pay for it. So by forcing you to have full coverage, if the car gets damaged, the lender is protected from loss. Okay, now there are those exceptions. If you have a no-fault insurance policy for your car, there are things that go above that where you could sue. So if you had lost a body part, you can see some very, very serious things that would go far beyond what the basic insurance would be able to pay for. If you were no longer able to work due to a permanent injury, that could be millions of dollars that you're going to be out. So you would be able to sue. Or obviously if someone is killed in a motor accident, especially if the other driver was doing something illegal like drunk driving, that's going to be a huge lawsuit. So these are the special circumstances where you can actually sue. And this is in the assignment. Okay. Now, I like to have what's called full coverage. So when you buy a new car, they're going to force you to have full coverage. It costs a lot more to have it, but as long as you have a good driving record, you'll be able to get a policy for a pretty good price. The first thing in there, above the standard policy, is called collision. That's if you actually have an accident with another car or an object, like if you accidentally run into a post in front of the quick check or your car somehow hits a tree or something. And that will repair the actual vehicle. And then comprehensive, I have this as well. This covers all kinds of other things, like if your car was stolen or somebody vandalized it or it was flooded or even that broken windshield I mentioned. I'm glad I have comprehensive during Hurricane Sandy. Both of our cars were swamped with bay water because I was living out in Ortley Beach, and because of comprehensive, we got big checks to go replace the entire car. So I like to take as little risk as possible, and so I have comprehensive insurance. And just a reminder, New Jersey is a no-fault state because you are protecting your own self with the PIP that's built into your policy. So after accidents, you're unfortunately probably going to have a car accident at some point. This is a photo of a very serious, we call this a rear end collision. You can see both cars are heavily damaged, and probably maybe an airbag went off or someone was injured by a seatbelt, whiplash. There's probably some serious, not only property damage, but also injuries to the people in the cars. So what do you do? In a real accident situation where there's damage or you're injured, you want to call 911 and wait for the police to arrive. Don't get out of your car, especially if even a minor, you hurt your wrist, your elbow, your head, something minor, you don't know. In the heat of the moment, you have no idea what's really going on. So if you can safely call 911, this is an emergency. The police will be there as fast as they can get there. And in general, you always need a police report. Even a small fender bender where no one is injured and it's just the cars are damaged a little bit, you still call the police. It's not maybe an emergency. You could just call your local police department, or if you're somewhere you're not sure where you are, call the state police and they'll send a cop out. Because when you go to file an insurance claim, they're going to want a police report. So always get a police report, but in an emergency, just call 911 and sit in your car. All right, if you decide to get out of your car, you need to be extremely careful. There's a lot of situations where people have an accident and they're not thinking clearly and they step out of their vehicle and then they get hit by another vehicle. That's a tragedy. You can easily avoid that. Just stay in your car. Stay in the car. Now, if it's a minor thing, like for example, your car got bumped into in the grocery store parking lot, you're going to take photos of the cars and the damage. And if you're going to exchange information with the other driver, they'll have an insurance card and they should have a license. Don't be afraid to say, can I take a picture of that? And use your camera phone and take a photo of their insurance information and their license. Then later, you can call your insurance company from home, especially if you have the police report. You need the police report. So make sure, even in a minor accident, you call the police. They'll come out. It takes like 20 minutes to a half hour total. And that is your proof that you're not lying about needing the insurance coverage. And you just file the claim by phone. Okay, so again, what to do? You call 911, you wait for the police. Don't drive away, that's a hit and run. And don't make any deal with the other driver. A lot of times when someone knows they're at fault in an accident, they'll just be like, oh, I'll take care of you. Here's my info, but let's not call the police. Let's not get them involved. You just have to say, sorry, I've already called them, or I need the police report for my insurance. Don't make any deals, because as soon as you leave the scene, you have no proof of what really happened, and you have no way to actually get any money from the other driver. And again, it's such a dangerous activity. Please be careful driving. Have a good policy with lots of coverage to help protect you in the event of any kind of accident. Okay, we need to talk about healthcare. Healthcare is very, very important, just like auto insurance. When someone is hospitalized, it's incredibly expensive. So in most countries, it would just be a human right. If you're a citizen in Canada, for example, you automatically have health insurance. You really aren't paying, you're paying almost nothing to use insurance. In the United States, it's not like that. So your insurance will cover doctor's visits, prescription drugs, any kind of treatment, surgeries, and hospital bills, which are extremely expensive. Just like with auto insurance, you have a deductible where you pay some before the insurance kicks in. In health insurance, that's called a copay. So you probably notice when you go to the doctor's office, you pay like $5, $10, or $20, and then you get to see the doctor. Well, that bill is actually probably $200 or $300, and that goes to the insurance company. So you pay a little, the insurance pays the majority of it. And just to have health insurance will cost you per person about $1,000 to $2,000 per year. And most of you will get your insurance through your employer. So when you have a full-time job, they're going to have insurance available. Now, they're not going to pay for it, but you'll still get a better deal. You'll pay less if you get it through your employer. The reason is if an employer has many employees, they make a deal with the insurance company to get a lower rate. So you'll pay less if you get your health insurance through your employer. It's another good reason that you don't want to work for cash. Some jobs, the employer will pay for part of the insurance. Very rarely will they pay the whole thing because it's very expensive for them. But you're still probably going to get your health insurance from your employer. So take advantage of that. Okay. Sadly, medical debt is the number one reason that families have to declare bankruptcy. And that means that they go to the government and say, we have no money, we cannot pay our debts, we're broke. It's a terrible thing to go through. So just by having health insurance and good auto insurance, you're really helping protect your family financially. There's lots of other stuff that's covered. Outpatient, that's going to the doctor's office. Emergency room, every hospital has an emergency room, that'll be covered. If you have to stay in a hospital, that's covered. Pregnancy, maternity, and babies. Babies go to the doctor a lot, so that's going to be covered. Also, these are so important, mental health and substance abuse. Those types of disorders, you can get help. Psychologists, psychiatrists, counselors, all of that is available to you through health insurance coverage. Other things would be like rehab, and that would be like, not like necessarily drugs or things like that, but when people have an injury and they're trying to get back in shape after the injury, that's a type of rehabilitation. Blood work, different tests is what we call laboratory services. And then there's some nice stuff in there sometimes, preventative and wellness, chronic disease management. And so you might find that acupuncture or yoga or massage are covered under your insurance, or people that have things like Lyme's disease, Crohn's disease, HIV. They can't really cure those things, but those chronic diseases can be managed, and that'll be included in your health insurance. Finally, the baby stuff is going to be included. Babies have many, many different types of doctor's appointments as when you're really small, so all that is going to be covered. When you're an adult, your dental work and your vision are not covered. You'd have to buy those separately. For myself, I have health insurance and I also have dental insurance separately. I don't have vision insurance. I do wear glasses, so when I go to get my eyes checked, I pay for that doctor's appointment. I pay for the glasses, the lenses, the contacts. I have to pay for all of that out of pocket. If I wanted to get vision coverage, I could buy that, but it's separate. And just so you know, you're covered by your parents through age 26. So hopefully by the time you're out of college, you'll have a good job. They'll offer you health insurance. And when you're 26, going on 27, you're going to have to buy that policy. There's many other types of insurance besides auto and health insurance. Just quickly, homeowners insurance, when you buy a house and you have a mortgage, they force you to have insurance. When you start to have a family, when you have children, you want to purchase life insurance. That way, if something happens to you, the insurance will have money there for your children. If you're not there to earn an income, then the life insurance is there to make sure that your children are taken care of. When you rent a place, like after college, in college, very cheap, you can get renter's insurance in case you're robbed, in case the place burns down. You're going to have a lot of neighbors, maybe a water pipe breaks. You never know what's going to happen when you're in an apartment situation. So renter's insurance covers your stuff, so you don't have to go buy a brand new bike, TV, clothes, bed, etc. Businesses need tons of insurance. And then flood insurance is something separate. When you own a house, you're not required to have flood insurance unless you live in what's called a flood zone. So a lot of times people go to buy a house, they think it's a good price, but they don't realize they have to buy the flood insurance, which is really expensive. So that's tons of different types of insurances. Okay. Thank you for watching this. I hope you're doing okay out there. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, just email me, and I'll be posting all this good stuff over on Google Classroom. Until next time, take